Throughout history, great civilizations have risen and fallen, leaving behind stories, monuments, and lessons. Today, we will journey through the fascinating world of ancient empires and discover how they shaped our modern world. Mesopotamia, often called the cradle of civilization, emerged between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Here, humans developed writing, the wheel, and the first cities. Imagine bustling marketplaces, priests atop ziggurats, and scholars writing on clay tablets that would survive thousands of years. Along the Nile, ancient Egypt flourished for millennia. The pharaohs ruled as gods on earth, overseeing monumental architecture like the pyramids. Hieroglyphics told stories of gods, kings, and everyday life. The Nile not only provided life, but also connected cities and enabled trade. Ancient Greece introduced philosophy, democracy, and theater. City-states like Athens and Sparta had unique cultures. Athens celebrated knowledge and debate, while Sparta trained warriors. Greek philosophers like Socrates and Plato asked questions that still challenge us today. Rome transformed from a small city-state into a vast empire spanning Europe, Africa, and Asia. Engineering marvels like roads and aqueducts connected the empire. Senators debated politics, gladiators fought in arenas, and Roman law laid the foundation for modern legal systems. The Persian Empire, under rulers like Cyrus the Great and Darius, was one of the largest empires of the ancient world. With a sophisticated system of governance and infrastructure, Persia managed diverse cultures and religions across vast territories. In ancient China, dynasties like the Qin and Han shaped culture, politics, and technology. The Great Wall was built to protect against invasions, while emperors commissioned magnificent armies of terracotta warriors. Confucian philosophy guided social and political life for centuries. Across the Americas, the Maya and Inca civilizations developed impressive cities, astronomy, and agriculture. The Maya built pyramids aligned with the stars, while the Incas constructed Machu Picchu atop mountains using advanced engineering. Every civilization eventually faced decline through war, conquest, or internal strife. Yet, their achievements live on in our culture, architecture, writing systems, and governance. By studying them, we understand the triumphs and mistakes of the past, shaping a wiser future. In the fertile land between the Tigris and Euphrates, humanity built its first great cities. Uruk, Ur, and Babylon rose as centers of trade, learning, and culture. Imagine the bustling marketplaces where merchants exchanged goods from distant lands. In Mesopotamia, writing was invented, cuneiform pressed into clay tablets, carrying messages across generations. Kings ruled from mighty palaces, while priests watched the skies for signs from the gods. This was the beginning of civilization as we know it. One of Mesopotamia's most important legacies was the Code of Hammurabi. Inscribed on a tall black stone, it laid down rules for justice: an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. For the first time, ordinary people had written laws to guide them. This was not just power, it was order, an empire bound not only by armies, but by rules that gave shape to society. Hammurabi's code still echoes today in our ideas of law and justice. Far to the west, another civilization was rising along the banks of the Nile. The Egyptians called their land Kemet, the Black Land, for the rich soil the river left behind after its floods. The Nile was more than a river. It was life itself. It fed the fields, carried boats, and connected cities. Without the Nile, Egypt could not exist. But with it, they built one of the longest-lasting civilizations in human history. At the heart of Egypt stood the pharaoh. To his people, he was not only a king, but a living god. His word was law, and his duty was to keep harmony between the gods and the people. Pharaohs were buried in grand tombs, surrounded by treasures for the afterlife. Their faces, carved in stone, stare at us even today, reminding us of a power that once ruled unchallenged. Nothing defines ancient Egypt more than the pyramids. These colossal stone structures, built over decades, were tombs for the pharaohs. The Great Pyramid of Giza, rising nearly 150 meters, was the tallest building on Earth for thousands of years. How did they build it? Some say tens of thousands of workers dragged stone blocks across the desert. Others believe ingenious ramps and tools made it possible. Whatever the truth, the pyramids remain eternal symbols of Egypt's ambition and skill. To the Egyptians, death was not an end, but a journey. They believed in an afterlife, a place where the soul would live forever, if properly prepared. That is why bodies were mummified, organs carefully preserved, and tombs filled with food, gold, and statues. Priests read spells from the Book of the Dead, guiding souls through dangers in the underworld. To us, these rituals may seem strange, but to the Egyptians, they were the key to eternity. Long before Athens and Sparta rose to power, the Greeks told stories of heroes and gods. These myths were not just entertainment, they explained the world and inspired generations. Homer's epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey, spoke of Achilles, Hector, and Odysseus, warriors and kings caught between human struggles and divine will. The Trojan War, whether myth or history, became a symbol of Greek courage. Greek mythology shaped their values, honor, bravery, cleverness, and connected them to a universe filled with gods watching from Mount Olympus. Every city had its patron deity, and every hero was remembered in stories that still survive today. Among the city-states, Athens stood out for something revolutionary: democracy. Here, citizens could gather in the agora, a great marketplace, and vote on important matters. It was not democracy as we know it. Only free men could participate, not women or slaves, but it was a radical idea that power should rest with the people. Philosophers and politicians debated fiercely, and speeches could sway the direction of the city. Athens became a place where ideas mattered as much as armies, and its experiment with democracy echoes in modern governments around the world. If Athens was the city of philosophers, Sparta was the city of warriors. From the age of 7, Spartan boys were taken from their families and placed into military training. They were taught to endure pain, hunger, and hardship, to fight as part of an unbreakable phalanx. Spartan women also had unusual freedoms, running households while men trained for war. Sparta valued discipline, strength, and loyalty above all else. Their soldiers, the feared hoplites, were said to never retreat. The legend of Sparta lived on in battles like Thermopylae, where 300 warriors stood against the might of Persia and became immortal in history. After the Persian Wars, Athens entered its golden age. Under leaders like Pericles, the city blossomed with art, architecture, and philosophy. The Parthenon rose above the Acropolis, a temple dedicated to Athena, gleaming in white marble. Playwrights like Sophocles and Euripides filled theaters with tragedies that explored human fate. Philosophers like Socrates questioned everything, asking citizens to think deeply about justice, truth, and life. Science, math, and art flourished, making Athens the cultural heart of Greece. Even today, the ruins of Athens remind us of this brief but brilliant age of human creativity. From the kingdom of Macedon came a young king who would change the world, Alexander the Great. Trained by Aristotle and inspired by Homer, Alexander led his armies across Asia. In a decade, he conquered the Persian Empire, reached Egypt, and marched as far as India. He spread Greek culture wherever he went, founding cities called Alexandria that became centers of learning. Though he died young, at just 32, his empire reshaped the ancient world. Greek language, art, and science blended with local traditions, creating the Hellenistic Age, a fusion of cultures that would influence centuries of history. While Greece flourished in the east, a new power was rising in the west, Rome. At first, a small city on the Tiber River, Rome grew through conquest and diplomacy, into a republic ruled by senators. Roman soldiers were disciplined, their legions feared across Italy. They built alliances and roads that connected their growing territory. Unlike Greece, Rome was pragmatic, adapting ideas from others and making them their own. The Roman Republic laid the foundation for an empire that would one day stretch across 3 continents. One man came to symbolize both Rome's greatness and its fragility: Julius Caesar. A brilliant general, he conquered Gaul and marched his legions into Rome itself. Declared dictator for life, Caesar introduced reforms but made enemies among senators who feared his power. On the Ides of March, 44 BCE, he was assassinated by men he called friends. His death plunged Rome into civil war, ending the Republic. From its ashes rose the Roman Empire, ruled not by senators, but by emperors. Out of chaos, Augustus Caesar emerged as Rome's first emperor. He brought peace and stability, beginning the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. For 2 centuries, Rome prospered. Roads stretched thousands of miles, connecting distant provinces. Aqueducts carried water into bustling cities. The Colosseum echoed with cheers as gladiators fought for glory. Roman law and culture spread from Britain to the Middle East. This was the height of Rome, when the empire seemed eternal, a beacon of order in a chaotic world. As we have seen, civilizations rise, flourish, and eventually decline. From Mesopotamia's first writing to Egypt's pyramids, from Greece's philosophy to Rome's empire, each left behind a legacy that continues to shape our world. Though their monuments may crumble and their empires fade, their ideas live on, in our laws, our languages, our architecture, and even in the way we think about freedom and power. History is not just about the past, it is about us, today. By learning from the triumphs and the mistakes of ancient civilizations, we can build a wiser future. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this exploration of history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the past that continue to shape our present. Until next time, remember, the echoes of history are all around us.